I must tell you something that cannot wait another moment. Right now, as you're reading these words, there is a cosmic frequency activating that happens only once every 164 years when Neptune completes its full cycle through the zodiac. And for Pisces, this means something extraordinary. This is not just another compatibility reading. This is about a soul contract that was written before you were born. About a love so specific that the universe designed only one sign to hold it perfectly. I know you might think this is just another ordinary astrology video about Pisces and love. But this time is completely different. Because what I'm about to reveal isn't based on surface-level suns and compatibility or generic relationship advice. This is about energy architecture. This is about why your soul chose the exact blueprint it did, and why there is one sign, one specific energetic frequency, that can love you the way you've always needed to be loved. Does this resonate with you? Have you felt lately like you've been searching for something you can't quite name? Not just romance, but a feeling of being truly seen. Let me ask you something more specific. In the past 3 months, have you experienced a strange combination of exhaustion and hope? A feeling that you're tired of trying to explain yourself, tired of dimming your sensitivity, tired of apologizing for the depth of your emotions, yet simultaneously sensing that something significant is about to shift. Have you noticed a tightness in your chest, right at your heart center, especially late at night when you're alone with your thoughts? That's not anxiety. That's your soul recognizing that a karmic cycle is completing. You have already felt it. Your body knows before your mind does. That unexplainable inner tension you've been carrying is actually your energetic field preparing for a recognition. A meeting that your soul has been waiting for across lifetimes. Now let me break down the underlying logic of why this matters so profoundly right now. Pisces operates on a frequency that most people cannot access. You are the last sign of the zodiac, which means you carry the wisdom, the wounds, and the transcendence of all 11 signs that came before you. Your energy is not linear. It's oceanic. It moves in currents and tides, in depths that most people fear to explore. You don't just feel emotions. You become them. You don't just sense energy. You merge with it. This is not a weakness. This is your design. But here's what happens in a world that values logic over intuition, action over reflection, and surface over depth. You learn to hide. You learn to make yourself smaller. You learn to pretend that you don't feel as much as you do, that you don't see as much as you see, that you don't know as much as you know. And then you meet people who say they love you. But what they actually love is the version of you that serves them. They love your empathy when they need comfort. They love your creativity when they need inspiration. They love your flexibility when they need you to adapt to their needs. But they don't love the fullness of you. They don't love the parts of you that need to disappear into music for 3 hours. They don't love the parts of you that feel the suffering of strangers. They don't love the parts of you that need silence and solitude to process the energetic information you're constantly receiving. Rather than saying you're too sensitive, it's better to say the people you've been with were not equipped to hold your frequency. There is a profound difference between those two statements. One makes you wrong. The other makes the match wrong. So who is equipped? Who can love you unconditionally? Not despite your Piscean nature, but because of it. The answer is Cancer. And before you dismiss this as predictable because they're both water signs, let me show you the precise energetic mechanics of why this pairing is not just compatible, but cosmically designed for mutual soul evolution. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Do you understand what this means at an energetic level? The moon governs emotional tides, instinctual nurturing, and the primal need for safety and belonging. Neptune governs transcendence, spiritual connection, and the dissolution of boundaries between self and other. When these two planetary energies interact, they create something that doesn't exist in any other's zodiac pairing. They create all of that is both deeply rooted and infinitely expansive. Cancer doesn't just accept your sensitivity. Cancer needs your sensitivity. Their entire emotional operating system is designed to respond to subtle cues, unspoken needs, and energetic shifts. Where other signs might find your emotional depth overwhelming, Cancer finds it familiar. It's their native language. They don't need you to explain why you're crying at a commercial or why you need to leave a party early because the energy feels wrong. They already know. They felt it too. But it's not only about understanding, it's also about protection. Cancer energy is the cosmic mother, the one who builds a shell around what is precious and vulnerable. And you, Pisces, are precious and vulnerable in ways that most people cannot comprehend. You need someone who doesn't see your openness as naivety, your trust as foolishness, your compassion as weakness. You need someone who recognizes that your ability to remain soft in a hard world is actually your greatest strength, and who will fiercely protect your right to stay that way. Have you noticed this shift? Have you encountered a Cancer recently who made you feel like you could finally exhale? Like you didn't have to perform or prove or explain? Let me give you a specific example of how this dynamic plays out in real life. Imagine you're at a social gathering. You're a Pisces, so you're absorbing everyone's energy, feeling the undercurrents of tension between two people across the room, sensing someone's hidden sadness beneath their smile. It's exhausting. You want to leave, but you don't want to seem rude or antisocial. An Aries partner might say, "Why are you being so dramatic? Just have fun." A Gemini partner might try to distract you with conversation. A Capricorn partner might tell you to toughen up. But a Cancer partner? They notice the exact moment your energy shifts. They don't ask what's wrong in front of everyone. They simply lean in and whisper, "Do you want to go?" And when you nod, they handle everything. They make the excuses. They navigate the goodbyes. They get you out of there. And then, in the car, they don't interrogate you about what happened. They just reach over and hold your hand, letting you process in silence until you're ready to speak. That is unconditional love. Not the grand gestures, not the passionate declarations, but the quiet, consistent recognition of who you are and what you need, without judgment, without resentment, without the expectation that you should be different. Now let's go deeper into the karmic dimension of this pairing, because this is where it becomes truly extraordinary. In evolutionary astrology, we understand that souls choose specific configurations to work through particular lessons. Pisces souls are here to learn about boundaries, about discernment, about the difference between compassion and self-sacrifice. You're here to master the art of being in the world but not of it, of feeling everything without being destroyed by what you feel. And Cancer souls, they're here to learn about emotional sovereignty, about the difference between nurturing and controlling, about how to care for others without losing themselves. They're learning to trust their intuition, to honor their feelings, to create safety without building walls so high that nothing can get in. Do you see the perfection of this design? You teach each other. Cancer teaches you that it's safe to need someone. That vulnerability in the right hands is not dangerous but sacred. You teach Cancer that emotions are not something to hide or manage, but something to honor and express. Cancer shows you that you can be fully yourself and still be loved. You show Cancer that love doesn't have to be earned through caretaking, that they are worthy simply for existing. This is not just romance. This is soul-level healing. This is two people who were broken in similar ways finding each other and discovering that their cracks align perfectly. That what one person needs to give is exactly what the other needs to receive. But here's what you need to understand about timing. And this is critical. Not every Cancer you meet is your Cancer. Not every water sign connection is the one. The universe is precise. There are specific markers, specific signs that indicate you found your match rather than just another lesson. First marker, effortless communication. With your Cancer soulmate, you will experience something you've rarely felt before. A sense that you don't have to translate your inner world into language they can understand. They already understand. You can speak in metaphors, in feelings, in half-finished sentences, and they follow you. There's no exhaustion in the communication. There's no feeling that you're speaking different languages. It flows. Second marker. Mutual protection. This is not one-sided caretaking. Yes, Cancer will protect your sensitivity, but you will also protect their vulnerability. You will create a space where they feel safe enough to let down the defensive shell they show the world. You will see the soft creature underneath, and you will guard that tenderness as fiercely as they guard yours. Third marker. Creative synergy. When Pisces and Cancer come together, they don't just build a relationship, they build a world. Your combined imaginative power is extraordinary. You dream together. You create together, whether it's art, music, a home, a family, or simply the way you move through life. There's a quality of enchantment that surrounds you. Other people feel it. They comment on it. They want what you have. Fourth marker. The healing begins immediately, from the first real conversation. You will feel something shift inside you. Old wounds will start to surface. Not to hurt you, but to be released. You will cry more in the first months with your Cancer soulmate than you have in years. But these are not tears of pain. These are tears of relief. These are the tears of someone who has been holding their breath for a lifetime and can finally exhale. Have you experienced any of these markers recently? Have you met someone who makes you feel like you're finally home? Now I need to address something that might be difficult to hear right, but it's essential for your journey. If you're a Pisces who has not yet met your Cancer soulmate, there is a reason, and that reason is not punishment, it's preparation. The universe is not withholding this connection from you. The universe is preparing you for it. Because here's what most people don't understand about soulmate connections. They think it's about finding someone who completes you. But that's not how energy works. You cannot merge with another soul until you have fully inhabited your own. You cannot receive unconditional love until you have learned to give it to yourself first. And for Pisces, this is the hardest lesson of all. Because your natural instinct is to dissolve into others. To lose yourself in service. To forget where you end and they begin. So if your Cancer hasn't arrived yet, the universe is asking you a question. Have you learned to hold your own boundaries? Have you stopped abandoning yourself to keep the peace? Have you recognized that your empathy is a gift, not an obligation to fix everyone's pain? Because when your Cancer does arrive, they will love you unconditionally. But unconditional love does not mean they will tolerate you betraying yourself. They will not enable your self-sacrifice. They will not participate in your disappearing act. They will hold up a mirror and show you every time you're about to give away a piece of yourself that you need to keep. This is the difference between toxic enabling and sacred partnership. A Cancer soulmate will nurture you. Yes. But they will also challenge you to stay present in your own life. They will ask you the hard questions. Why did you say yes when you meant no? Why did you take on someone else's emotional burden when you're already carrying too much? Why are you hiding your needs to make room for theirs? And they will ask these questions not from judgment, but from love. Because they know that the version of you that sacrifices yourself is not the version they fell in love with. They fell in love with your wholeness. And they will not let you fragment yourself. Not even for them. Does this resonate with you? Can you feel the difference between someone who loves your service and someone who loves your sovereignty? Let me take you deeper into the specific ways this relationship will transform you. Because transformation is not comfortable. It's not always gentle. Sometimes love has to break you open before it can heal you. And Cancer energy knows how to do this with precision and care. The first transformation is in how you relate to your emotions. As a Pisces, you've likely spent your life being told that you feel too much. That you're too emotional. Too sensitive. Too easily hurt. You've probably tried to control it. To numb it. To apologize for it. You've learned to say things like, "I'm sorry. I'm just being emotional." As if emotion is something shameful. Something weak. Something that needs to be excused. Your Cancer soulmate will dismantle this belief system completely. Not through lectures or logic, but through their own example. Cancer feels as deeply as you do. But they have something you're still learning. They have emotional authority. They don't apologize for their feelings. They don't minimize them. They don't perform emotional restraint to make others comfortable. When they're hurt, they say so. When they're angry, they express it. When they're overwhelmed, they take space. And they do all of this without shame, without the belief that their emotions are a burden. Watching this, being with this, will rewire something fundamental in you. You will start to understand that emotions are not the problem. Emotions are information. They are guidance. They are the language your soul uses to communicate with you. And when you're with someone who treats emotions as sacred data rather than inconvenient noise, you will finally give yourself permission to feel without apology. I want you to imagine what your life will look like when you stop apologizing for your depth. Imagine walking into a room and not immediately scanning for who needs you, who's in pain, who you need to fix or soothe or save. Imagine being in a conversation and not automatically suppressing your own needs to make space for someone else's. Imagine saying, "I can't take that on right now," and not feeling crushing guilt. Imagine crying because you need to cry, not because you're trying to release someone else's pain that you absorb. This is what becomes possible when you're loved by someone who doesn't need you to be smaller. The second transformation is in how you understand safety. Pisces energy is naturally boundaries. You are the ocean, and oceans don't have walls. This is beautiful, but it's also dangerous. Because without boundaries, you become a dumping ground for everyone else's emotional waste. You take on energies that aren't yours. You carry burdens that don't belong to you. You give and give until you're depleted. And then you wonder why you feel so exhausted, so resentful, so lost. Cancer will teach you that safety is not about walls. It's about discernment. It's about knowing who gets access to your depths and who stays in the shallows. Cancer energy is the crab. Remember, they have a hard shell, but underneath is the softest, most vulnerable creature. They understand that protection is not about shutting down. It's about being selective. It's about creating a sanctuary where only those who honor your sensitivity are allowed to enter. Here's a specific example of how this plays out. Let's say you have a friend who constantly calls you in crisis. Every conversation is about their drama, their problems, their pain. You listen for hours. You offer advice. You send supportive messages. You show up. But when you need support, they're suddenly busy. They change the subject. They minimize your feelings. This is an energetic vampire rite. And before your Cancer soulmate, you probably tolerated this because you felt guilty setting boundaries. You told yourself that being a good friend means being available. That compassion means never saying no. Your Cancer will see this dynamic immediately, and they will not be gentle about it. They will say, "This person is taking from you without giving back. This is not friendship. This is extraction. And you need to stop allowing it." At first, you might resist. You might defend the person. You might say, "But they're going through a hard time. But they need me." And your Cancer will look at you with those intuitive eyes and say, "And what about what you need? When does your hard time matter? When do you get to be the one who's held?" This will crack something open in you, because you spent so much of your life believing that your worth is tied to your usefulness. That love is something you earn through service. That if you stop giving, people will stop wanting you, and here is someone who wants you. Not for what you can do for them, but for who you are. Someone who is actually angry on your behalf when others take advantage of your kindness. Someone who sees your compassion as precious and refuses to let it be wasted on people who don't reciprocate. This is how Cancer loves you unconditionally. By refusing to let you betray yourself. By holding the boundary when you're too tired to hold it yourself. By saying, "I love you too much to watch you disappear." Have you noticed this shift? Have you started to feel angry about relationships that used to feel normal? That's not bitterness. That's awakening. The third transformation, and this is the most profound, is in how you relate to your spiritual gifts. Pisces is the mystic of the zodiac. You have access to realms that most people don't even believe exist. You receive downloads. visions, knowings that come from beyond the logical mind. You feel the presence of guides, ancestors, energies that exist outside of physical form. You have prophetic dreams. You sense things before they happen. You know things you have no logical way of knowing. But in a world that worships rationality and dismisses intuition, you've probably learned to hide this part of yourself. You've probably been called crazy, delusional, too woo-woo. You've probably had people roll their eyes when you mention energy or spirits or signs from the universe. So you've learned to keep it quiet. You've learned to doubt yourself. You've learned to dismiss your own knowing because it doesn't fit into the narrow bandwidth of what's considered real. Your Cancer soulmate will change this completely. Because Cancer is also deeply psychic. They are ruled by the moon, which governs the subconscious, the dream realm, the invisible currents that move beneath the surface of reality. They trust their gut. They follow their instincts. They believe in magic, in synchronicity, in the intelligence of the unseen. And when you're with someone who not only believes in your gifts, but relies on them, who asks you what you're sensing, who trusts your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense, you will finally stop hiding the most powerful part of yourself. Let me give you a concrete example. You wake up one morning with a strong feeling that you need to call your mother. There's no logical reason. She's fine. You just talked to her 2 days ago. But the feeling is insistent. Before your Cancer, you might have dismissed it. You might have told yourself you're being paranoid, that you're making something out of nothing. But your Cancer notices the look on your face and says, "What are you feeling?" And when you tell them, they don't question it. They don't ask for evidence. They just say, "Then call her. Trust it." So you call, and it turns out your mother was just sitting there feeling lonely, wishing someone would reach out. And your call was exactly what she needed in that moment. This might seem small, but it's not. Because every time your Cancer validates your intuition, every time they trust your knowing without needing proof, they are healing decades of conditioning that taught you to doubt yourself. They are giving you permission to be the full expression of your gifts. They are saying, "Your magic is real, and I see it, and I honor it." This is what unconditional love looks like for a Pisces. It's not just accepting your sensitivity. It's celebrating your supernatural abilities. It's creating a relationship where the mystical is normal. Where talking to your guides is as natural as talking to your friends. Where pulling oracle cards before making a decision is not weird but wise. Now let's talk about the shadow side. Because no soulmate connection is without its challenges. And if I don't address this, I'm not giving you the full picture. The Cancer-Pisces pairing has one major potential pitfall. And it's this: mutual escapism. Both of you are water signs, which means both of you feel everything intensely, and both of you have a tendency to retreat when the world feels too harsh. Cancer retreats into their shell. Pisces retreats into fantasy, substances, sleep, anything that offers temporary relief from the overwhelm of existence. When two people with escapist tendencies come together, there's a risk of creating a bubble so insulated from reality that you both stop growing. You can become so comfortable in your private world that you avoid the necessary friction of life. You can enable each other's avoidance. You can create a beautiful, safe, emotionally rich relationship that never challenges either of you to step into your power in the external world. This is the test of the Cancer-Pisces connection. Can you create safety without stagnation? Can you nurture each other without enabling each other's fears? Can you build a sanctuary that's a place of rest and restoration, not a place of permanent hiding? The answer is yes. But only if you're both committed to conscious growth. Only if you're willing to call each other out when you see the other one slipping into avoidance. Only if you understand that true love sometimes means pushing your partner toward their edge, toward the thing they're afraid of, because you know they're capable of more than they believe. Your Cancer soulmate will do this for you. When you want to quit your job because your boss was harsh, they'll hold you and let you cry. But then they'll ask, is this really about your boss? Or is this about your fear of being seen? When you want to cancel plans because you're feeling socially anxious, they'll respect your need for space. But they'll also gently challenge you. Is this self-care? Or is this self-sabotage? Are you honoring your limits? Or are you hiding from your life? These questions will not feel like criticism. They will feel like love. Because they're coming from someone who knows your patterns, who sees your potential, who refuses to let you play small even when playing small feels safer, and you will do the same for them. When your Cancer wants to control a situation because they're afraid of being hurt, you'll remind them that control is not the same as safety. When they're building walls instead of boundaries, you'll show them the difference. When they're taking care of everyone except themselves, you'll hold up the mirror and say, "You're doing the thing you tell me not to do. You're abandoning yourself." This is the dance of conscious partnership. This is how two people with similar wounds help each other heal instead of reinforcing each other's patterns. This is how unconditional love becomes a catalyst for transformation instead of a comfortable cage. Does this resonate with you? Can you feel how different this is from relationships where you were loved for being easy, for being accommodating, for never making waves? Let me take you into the fourth transformation. And this one is about your relationship with time itself. Pisces exists outside of linear time. You live in multiple dimensions simultaneously. You're processing the past, feeling the present, and sensing the future all at once. This is why you're often late. Why you lose track of hours. Why you can spend an entire day doing what feels like nothing and yet you're exhausted because you've been traveling through emotional and spiritual landscapes that have no relationship to the clock on the wall. The world punishes you for this. You've been called flaky, unreliable, spacey. You've been told to get your head out of the clouds, to be more present, to focus. And you've tried. You've set alarms and reminders. You've forced yourself into schedules that feel like cages. You've apologized 1,000 times for being 5 minutes late, for forgetting a detail, for drifting off mid-conversation because something someone said triggered a cascade of associations that took you somewhere else entirely. Your Cancer soulmate understands that your relationship with time is not a flaw. It's a feature of your operating system. Cancer is also ruled by cycles, by the waxing and waning of the moon, by rhythms that don't conform to human schedules. They understand that some days you need 12 hours of sleep and some days you're awake at 3 in the morning writing poetry or painting or simply staring at the stars. They don't try to regulate you. They don't impose structure on your chaos. Instead, they create a container flexible enough to hold your non-linear existence. Here's what this looks like in practice. You're supposed to meet friends for dinner at 7. At 6:30, you're suddenly hit with a wave of emotion, a memory, a creative insight that demands your attention right now. Before your Cancer, you would have forced yourself to push it down, to get ready, to show up on time even though your soul was screaming at you to stay home and honor what was moving through you, and you would have spent the entire inner feeling disconnected, resentful, only half present. But with your Cancer, you can say, "I need to cancel. Something's happening and I need to be alone with it." And they don't question you. They don't make you explain or justify. They just say, "Okay, I'll handle it." You do what you need to do. And then they text your friends. They make the excuses. They protect your right to follow your inner timing even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. This is unconditional love. This is someone who trusts that you know what you need, even when you can't articulate it. This is someone who values your spiritual and creative process more than social convenience. This is someone who understands that your greatest gifts come through you when you're not forcing yourself to conform to external expectations. And here's what happens when you're finally given this freedom. You stop feeling guilty about your nature. You stop trying to be someone you're not. You stop apologizing for needing what you need. And paradoxically, when you stop forcing yourself into linear time, you actually become more reliable in the ways that matter. Because you're no longer depleting yourself trying to meet arbitrary standards. You're operating from your natural rhythm, which means you have more energy, more presence, more capacity to show up when it truly counts. Your Cancer will also teach you something crucial about cyclical living. They understand that there are seasons for action and seasons for rest. Seasons for socializing and seasons for solitude. Seasons for creating and seasons for integrating. They don't expect you to be the same person every day. They don't need you to maintain a consistent energy level or mood. They know that you wax and wane like the moon that rules them, and they love you through all of your phases. This is the gift of being loved by someone who is also governed by cycles. They never make you feel broken for needing to withdraw. They never shame you for your low energy days. They understand that rest is not laziness. Silence is not rejection. Solitude is not abandonment. These are necessary parts of your process, and they honor them as sacred. Now let me address something that I know many of you are wondering. What if I'm a Pisces who's already in a relationship with someone who's not a Cancer? Does this mean I'm with the wrong person? Does this mean I need to leave? Not necessarily. Because here's what you need to understand about soulmate energy. It's not always romantic. Sometimes your Cancer soulmate shows up as a best friend, a sibling, a mentor, a creative collaborator. Sometimes they're in your life to teach you what unconditional love feels like so that you can recognize when it's missing in your romantic relationship and make different choices. Sometimes they're there to hold you while you do the hard work of leaving a partnership that's been slowly killing your spirit. But if you are in a romantic relationship with someone who is not a Cancer, the question you need to ask yourself is this: does this person love me the way a Cancer would? Do they protect my sensitivity? Do they honor my intuition? Do they create space for my non-linear nature? Do they challenge me to stay whole rather than fragment myself? Do they see my depth as a gift rather than a burden? Because the sign itself is not what matters. What matters is the quality of love, the energetic frequency, the capacity to hold you in your fullness. There are Cancers who are wounded and unavailable and incapable of the kind of love I've been describing. And there are people of other signs who have done enough healing work that they can love you with Cancer-level depth and devotion. But if you're honest with yourself, and you know that your current relationship requires you to be less than you are, if you know that you're constantly editing yourself, dimming your light, suppressing your needs, apologizing for your nature, then you need to hear this. That is not love. That is tolerance. And you did not come to this planet to be tolerated. You came here to be celebrated. The universe is not asking you to settle. The universe is not asking you to be grateful for crumbs. The universe designed you with exquisite precision, with gifts that are desperately needed in this world, and you deserve all of that. Sees that, honors that, protects that. You deserve a Cancer-level love. Whether it comes from a Cancer or from someone else who is learned to love with that level of consciousness. Have you started to feel this truth in your body? Have you started to recognize the difference between someone who loves your service and someone who loves your soul? Let me give you the final piece of this puzzle. And this is about your purpose. Because your Cancer soulmate is not just here to love you. They're here to help you fulfill your mission. And every Pisces has a mission, whether you're conscious of it yet or not. You are here to be a bridge between worlds. You are here to translate the language of the soul into forms that others can understand. You are here to remind people that there is more to existence than what they can see and touch and measure. But you cannot do this work if you're depleted. You cannot be a bridge if you've given away all your energy to people who drain you. You cannot translate the language of the soul if you're too exhausted to hear it yourself. This is why you need a Cancer. Because they will guard your energy like it's the most precious resource on earth. Because it is. Your Cancer will be the one who says no on your behalf when you can't say it yourself. They will be the one who clears your schedule when you're overcommitted. They will be the one who reminds you that you don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. They will be the one who creates a life structure that supports your gifts rather than exploits them. And in return, you will show them what's possible when someone is truly free to be themselves. You will show them that safety doesn't have to mean smallness. You will show them that they can open their heart without being destroyed. You will show them that the world is so much more magical than they allowed themselves to believe. You will reawaken their sense of wonder, their connection to the mystical, their trust in the unseen forces that guide us all. This is the sacred exchange. This is why the universe designed this pairing with such precision. Because you need each other, not in a codependent way, but in a way that allows both of you to become more of who you truly are. Cancer needs your permission to feel deeply without shame. You need Cancer's protection to stay soft in a hard world. Cancer needs your spiritual vision to remember that there's more to life than survival. You need Cancer's grounding to remember that you have a body, a life, responsibilities that matter. Together, you create something that neither of you could create alone. You create a love that heals, a love that transforms, a love that ripples out and touches everyone around you. Because when people see the two of you together, they see what's possible. They see that you don't have to choose between depth and stability. They see that sensitivity and strength are not opposites. They see that real love doesn't require you to be anything other than exactly who you are. Now I want to speak directly to those of you who are feeling the urgency of this message in your body right now. Those of you who have tears in your eyes because something in these words has touched a place in you that's been waiting to be seen. Those of you who are suddenly aware of how tired you are of pretending, of performing, of making yourself smaller to fit into relationships that were never designed to hold you. This is your moment. This is your invitation. Not to go out and desperately search for a Cancer partner, but to become the version of yourself that is ready to receive this level of love. Because the universe will not send you your soulmate until you have learned to treat yourself the way you want them to treat you. The universe will not send you someone who honors your boundaries until you start honoring them yourself. The universe will not send you someone who protects your energy until you stop giving it away to people who don't deserve it. So here is your action plan. And I want you to take this seriously because this is not just advice. This is energetic preparation for the most important relationship of your life. First, stop apologizing for your sensitivity. Starting today. Every time you catch yourself saying I'm sorry for being emotional or I'm sorry for being too much or arch, I want you to stop mid-sentence and rephrase. Say instead, I feel deeply, and that's a gift. Say it even if you don't believe it yet. Say it until your nervous system starts to recognize it as truth. Second, audit your relationships. Make a list of every person in your life who regularly takes your energy without giving back. Every person who calls you only when they need something. Every person who dismisses your feelings or makes you feel crazy for your intuition. And then, with as much compassion as you can muster, start creating distance. You don't have to make dramatic announcements. You don't have to explain yourself. Just slowly, gently, start pulling your energy back from places where it's not being honored. Third, create a daily practice of coming home to yourself. This is non-negotiable. Every single day, you need time alone to process the energetic information you've absorbed. This might be meditation, journaling, walking in nature, taking a bath, listening to music in the dark. Whatever it is, it needs to be sacred time where you're not available to anyone else. This is how you learn to hold your own energy. This is how you become someone who doesn't need to be rescued, but who is ready to be met as an equal. Start speaking your needs out loud. Pisces has a tendency to expect people to intuitively know what you need, and then feel hurt when they don't. Your Cancer soulmate will be intuitive. Yes. But they're not a mind reader. Practice saying things like, I need alone time right now. I need you to just listen without trying to fix it. I need physical affection. I need silence. Get comfortable with the vulnerability of asking for what you need instead of hoping someone will guess it. And this is the most important. Stop betraying yourself to keep the peace. Every time you say yes when you mean no. Every time you suppress your truth to avoid conflict. Every time you make yourself smaller to make someone else comfortable. You are telling the universe that you are not ready for all of that honors your wholeness. Your Cancer soulmate will not tolerate you abandoning yourself. So you need to stop doing it now. Practice saying no. Practice disappointing people. Practice choosing yourself even when it feels selfish. This is not selfishness. This is self-loyalty, and it's the foundation of everything. As you do this work, As you start to reclaim your energy and honor your nature and speak your truth, something will shift in your energetic field. You will start to vibrate at a different frequency, and that frequency will act like a beacon, calling in the people and experiences that match it. Your Cancer soulmate is out there, and they're doing their own work, their own healing, their own preparation. And when you're both ready, when you've both learned the lessons you need to learn, the universe will orchestrate your meeting with a precision that will take your breath away. You will look back on this moment, on reading these words, and you will recognize it as the beginning, the moment you stopped settling, the moment you remembered who you are, the moment you decided that you deserve all of that celebrates every part of you, even the parts you've been taught to hide. This is not just about finding a partner. This is about reclaiming your sovereignty. This is about remembering that you are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not too emotional or too intuitive or too anything. You are exactly as you were designed to be. And there is someone out there who will love you not despite your Piscean nature, but because of it. Someone who will see your depth and want to dive in. Someone who will feel your sensitivity and want to protect it.